We've all been in that awkward situation where we want to go do something with our friends, or we want to go to a high school basketball game, or maybe see a movie. And all of that requires money that we may not have. So what do we do now? We're stranded with no money. We go to our parents or our guardian, and some parents are comfortable with handing out money to their children to help them go to these things. But if you're anything like me, it makes you very uneasy to ask them, and it spikes your anxiety and honestly lowers your self-esteem. As much as we hate to think about it, there's going to be a time in our lives where our parents can't pay for everything. Although they have paid for the majority of our belongings so far, they aren't going to be able to do that forever. That's why it's very important to be financially independent. In order to be financially independent, we first need to get a job. If you look around, even in the small town of McPherson, Kansas, there are tons of jobs. From working fast food at McDonald's, to working construction, to even washing cars. There are jobs everywhere, and no matter what job you are going to work, they will always benefit you. Even if the job is not what you want your future career to be, it will put you in social interactions that are different. Even though I listed 3 very different jobs, they all have the one common thing: social interaction. Today, I will tell you how the effects of work affects your school, what students can personally gain from having a high school job, and how having a job will prepare you for college. So let's look at the effects of adolescent employment on schoolwork. I discovered from the benefits and risks of adolescent employment by Jalen T. Mortimer that jobs can be very beneficial for your future, as long as you work less than 20 hours a week during high school. It is found that there is a direct correlation between time worked and your grades. As long as your work is lower than 20 hours a week, it is found that it has very little effect on your grades. However, if you do exceed 20 hours a week, it can negatively affect you. We also found that students are born with a natural drive compared to a learned work ethic. It is an intrinsic drive that your parents have passed down to you. It's very surprising that actually a lot of students like to have jobs and want to have jobs, to be financially independent and feel more adult-like. Many parents agree and stand behind this motion. They believe that students can learn attributes like independence, responsibility, and strengthen their interpersonal skills. The YDS, the Youth Development Study, was created 20 years ago to discuss this controversial topic. They created 2 different work styles, sporadic and steady. To break these down, sporadic are known as occasional workers, the people that work less than 20 hours a week, and some have behavioral issues. On the other side, they're steady, the consistent workers who work more than 20 hours a week and are extremely invested into their work. While both of these have their positive and negative sides, we want to be a steady worker who is very invested in their work but works less than 20 hours a week. The YDS also found that people's drives are based off of their socioeconomic situation. They found that the people who are in middle class or above have a higher intrinsic drive compared to the ones that do not. They enjoy school more, and they are more likely to value the work experience compared to the money without having to have a financial burden. Now that I have talked about the effects of work on your school, let's talk about your personal gain. Katrin Blake of Concordia University in Portland says you can learn responsibility and vigor essential for success in college and the rest of your life. Understanding skills about your field of interest are very important. That's why it's good to go into a similar field while you're in high school to make sure you're not going to choose a major that goes off of what you want to do for the rest of your life. She also talks about how important scholarships are. Having multiple job experiences on scholarship applications is very appealing to scholarship application committees because they realize you are invested and are willing to work. Blake also talks about having multiple jobs, understanding different social settings, and learning from multiple jobs. For example, if you want to go into the health field and be a doctor, you obviously can't jump in and perform surgery on someone. You have to start somewhere. So in high school, you could be a lifeguard. Being a lifeguard, you could learn basic health skills, how to communicate, and CPR. The next thing Blake talks about is building relationships. By having a strong job, you can create relationships within your local community, learn how to manage a calendar or a planner, and she also states that as long as your job is safe and legal, there are very few risks. However, you need to make sure that when you have an interview with someone, you need to communicate with your employer. You need to know that, you need to let them know that you have a limited time you can work and that you cannot be overscheduled because you care about your grades. Even if you do not get the job, interviews will become more comfortable as you go along. They will prepare you for future interactions. I know we all have fear and anxiety when it comes to getting a job. It may seem intimidating, but as you go on and have interviews, they become less uncomfortable. Now that I have talked about how you can benefit from having a job, I'll talk about how it can prepare you for college. As well as creating personal skills for you, it also creates a financial cushion. I broke this down into 3 different ways it can prepare you for college. Number 1, you can pay for your tuition with some of the money you made to reduce the amount of loans you have to take. 2, you have extra money to invest in diverse portfolios to ensure your financial security for the rest of your life. And 3, you can graduate debt-free. Now that I've talked about how I can prepare you for college, I would like to recap what I've said. I've told you about the effects on school, what you can gain from it, and how it can prepare you for college. Now is the perfect time to get a job. We're still young. It can pave the way for your future and ensure success. Although fears are inevitable, they are also conquerable. In the long run, I hope you learn responsibility and many life lessons. What are you waiting for? Go get a job.